Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is Tennessee Congressman John Rose from the 6th Congressional District. Congressman, there's one of the bright spots of this entire pandemic, if there's been one, has certainly been the quick development of some vaccines that may be online and available in this country within the next few weeks. Are you willing to take that vaccine? The three former presidents say they're willing to take it on live television if necessary to prove that they believe these vaccines are effective and good things to do. But there's an awful lot of skepticism in the country. Where do you stand on taking the vaccine?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, I think both I and my family will take the vaccine as soon as it's appropriate for us to do so. And I'm heartened by seeing the former president step forward and show that leadership. I frankly wish they might have done that a little earlier, and I wish that this question of the efficacy and safety of the vaccines had not been brought into question as a political football earlier in the fall. So it is remarkable. The president organized what we know is Operation Warp Speed. And frankly, I think it's fair to point out that Operation Warp Speed is harnessing the ingenuity and innovative spirit of American free enterprise. And what a tremendous, magnificent story there is now to be told, that something that usually takes 5 to 8 years, maybe 12 years in some cases, has been accomplished in less than a year. It's truly remarkable. I believe we'll have a number of safe and effective vaccines widely available in the coming weeks and months.
Congressman, we mentioned all the things Congress has got to get done pretty quickly, including continuing to fund the government. It's going to run out of money sometime next week or a little later than that. Would it just be just like 2020 in the middle of a pandemic for the government to run out of money and have to shut down?
I certainly hope not, Pat. You're right. I've spent my career in the private sector. I remember back in my days as a student, sometimes you have the tendency to put off your homework till late in the day, and unfortunately, Congress seems to have adopted that as a working rule. And so we've been here all year. We've put off the most important work of our year till the very end. The Democrats, frankly, Pelosi never even brought forward a budget construct, and now we haven't funded the government for the current year that we're in, except for on a temporary basis. We haven't authorized the national defense, and that's frankly the most important thing Congress does. And so it's very regretful that now we're going to try to do this in a sprint here in the last days of the Congress, and that's when mistakes get made.
Congressman, another thing that's been a little bit delayed this year has been the census. When it's finally done, the Tennessee General Assembly will take it and redo the congressional districts as well as the districts in the General Assembly. Usually they talk to congressmen about how they'd like to change their district. A lot of talk about you taking over portions of Davidson County and the 5th Congressional District basically being dismembered into 3 or 4 different districts. Do you support that idea? Do you want parts of Davidson County now to be in your district in the next election 2 years from now?
Well, of course, I'm a freshman member of Congress, represent the 6th District. I'm an 8th generation native of the area that's now part of the 6th District of Tennessee. And I'm committed to representing all of the people that are part of what currently is the 6th District of Tennessee. One of the things I learned early on is that my job is to attend to the issues at the federal level. We have a state legislature and a governor, legislature and governor that are supposed to deal with those issues at the state level. And I try to stay in my lane and they stay in theirs. I think we have better government. And so I certainly will watch that with interest and certainly perhaps provide my input at the appropriate time if it's asked for. And I think I'll trust the legislature duly empowered by the people of Tennessee to make those decisions.
Well, geography says you take over most likely would be the Antioch area of southeast or southwest Nashville, Davidson County. A lot of Democrats working down there, a very diverse part of the district. You say you're okay if they come into your district. How would that be better for Nashville to not have its own congressman, but have its representation split up among 3 or 4 different congressmen?
Well, I think, I ran for Congress on the platform of taking Tennessee values to Washington and getting Washington out of Tennessee. And that's been received well by the people of the 6th District of Tennessee. And while there probably are some differences that could emerge in my district if different territories were included, I would continue to work hard to represent the people that I was elected to represent and serve those people. So every day we serve the folks who come to us and ask for help, whether they're Democrat or Republican. And frankly, we don't ask that question. We just try to solve the problems that they have as they interface with the federal government. And so, again, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But very proud to represent the people that I represent now, and hope that I get that opportunity to continue to do so.
Congressman, very briefly as we close out, going back to President Trump, a lot of talk about who he might pardon, including himself in the final days of his leaving this administration. What would you caution him about or urge him to do about this? A lot of people are concerned about people talking about pardoning themselves, pardoning their family, and there's this report in Washington this week that somebody at least tried to offer some kind of a bribe in order to get a presidential pardon. The president says it's fake news, but shouldn't he be careful about who he pardons? That seems to put a pale on all the pardons he's already given, any he might give.
Sure. I think the power of pardon is a very important power that the president has been given in the Constitution, and I think all presidents would be well advised to use that power very carefully. I think this president has, in the sense that if you look at the total number of pardons that he has dispensed during his term in office, it is dramatically lower than his recent contemporary colleagues in the presidency. And so I think the president sometimes, is dramatic in the things he says, but I think in the end we'll see the same measured response that we've seen as he's gone about.
Congressman, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave it at there. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your service, and have a very happy holiday season for yourself and your family, and thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
That's Inside Politics for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the NewsChannel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.